Welcome to Desk Geek! This is going to be so much fun. It's finally here. I'm going to be doing a complete rebuild of my AMD Viscera system. We are now going to be going to an i7 6700K Skylake processor with a Gigabyte Z170X-UD3 motherboard and some DDR4 RAM and a cryo-rig fan. So this video is going to be for anybody who's wanting to see any of these individual components unboxed, but also for anyone who's wanting to do a complete new build. So you can go step by step. I'll warn you ahead of time, it's going to be a long video, but you can go step by step with me if you're going to be upgrading your own machine. And if you are just wanting to build a machine from scratch, you could still watch this video and see how everything's installed. We'll be doing all of the connections that you would do with the new machine. The only thing I'm not replacing is the power supply, the hard drives, and the CDs. But with the power supply, you'll be able to see all the connections that go from there into the motherboard, as well as the hard drives connecting in. So at the end of the day, you could use this video for either the first time you're building a machine to watch, follow along, and learn some things, or if you are upgrading a machine that, say, you bought from iBuyPower, somewhere like that, and you're wanting to upgrade it, you could do that as well. So we're going to be going from an AMD setup to an Intel setup, and we'll be seeing how much more speed we can get out of this. The AMD I have is water-cooled. Now I'm going with a fan-based system, namely because the water-cooled has always been semi-dangerous. You don't know when they failed. Some of them have LEDs, the one I have does not, so I don't know if it's turned off, if the water's not working. Of course, you have the issues that could happen with leaks and that type of thing. So I'm going with a fan system. I don't overclock a whole lot, so it's not a big deal. The reason I don't is because you do lose some life out of your system when you do that, and the amount that you gain from it really, to me, is pretty nominal, especially when you're within parts at this high of a level. Now, if you have a lower end system and you need some more speed out of it to play certain games, then that's perfectly acceptable. When you're buying higher end parts already, most of the games and things really can't take advantage of all the power that's here already. So we're going to get our machine up and start our operation, but not just yet. We'll do a quick unboxing. So let me show you this beautiful processor here. So this is our i7 6700K. Absolutely gorgeous processor. 4 gigahertz. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And we have some Vengeance LPX RAM. And none of this is the highest end, obviously, you can buy. But it is very high-end equipment. It's definitely not cheap. This is good stuff. This is gonna run anything we throw at it. Any more than this and you're just showing off. I've had good luck with Gigabyte. Lately I've been using ASRock. Most of their stuff has just been absolutely fantastic. But over the years, I've done thousands of computers, because I used to own a shop in Florida. So here, Gigabyte has always been one of those ones that have worked very well and I've been happy with. ASRock's been one of my favorites lately, so I'm going to go and try a Gigabyte system again though. With the motherboards, your goal here is just to touch it as little as possible on the circuitry, to stick to the edges here, but you can get a good look at that board. Nice gold and black. Very, very beautiful. Got 4 slots for a DDR4. Our CPU holder here. The nice plastic cover. Absolutely gorgeous. And we have nice color-coded pins for our power and setup, which is very nice. Some of the motherboards that don't color-code it or make this easy, these jumpers can be quite annoying. So I love that they did that. You got the nice Intel inside. Absolutely gorgeous motherboard. In the front, you got your sound card, your opticals, lots of USB, which I'm going to use all HDMI. Very, very nice board. So, those are the parts for. I cannot believe how big this fan is. H5 Ultimate. This thing is heavy. I didn't realize when it was shipping, and I looked and it said the box was 4 pounds. And when you hold this thing, I'm telling you, it's insane. Oh gosh. Okay. So This is the fan. This thing is huge. I mean, comparison, it's almost as big as my entire hand. There's your fins there. Absolutely, I did not realize it was this big. Honestly, that is just massive, but it should fit in my case. I have a high tower case. So now I'm gonna get all of this moved to the side and get my current PC set up and ready for the operation. I'll see you soon. Okay, so here's the inside of my current machine. Here we have our video card. We have the radiator for the water cooling. Obviously down here this leads, if you follow this pipe, down to the water cooling block which sits on top of the CPU. We have our RAM, we've got our SATA connections, our main power for the motherboard, and really what you want to do here if you are in the process of doing a rip and replace is unplugging and getting these things off of the motherboard, because we got to take that motherboard completely out. We don't want things in the way that are going to end up making it so that we're banging, knocking, or having to pull. Everything should be done gently. You can use an electrostatic wristband at this point if you live in a staticky area and or if you are working on carpet, neither of which applies to me, so I don't utilize one and haven't. But if you live in those type of areas, make sure that you do. So we're going to take our screwdriver, and the first thing I'm going to do is get this USB 3.0 out of the way here, because that's blocking me from removing my video card. And make sure you put your screws in a place, if you've never done this before, where you can memorize what they came from. You can use Ziploc bags for that, or something where you're setting them up, certain screws in a certain pattern, so that you know you can go back to them and remember what they went to. Okay, so now we're going to disconnect the power cables here from our video card. We're going to move those out of the way. And now we need to unscrew the thumb screws here for the video card. And this video card takes up 2 slots, so there's going to be 2 screws. Depending on the type of video card you have, you can just look at the plate in the front and see if it takes up 2 or 1. And you can remove those screws. If you remove too many screws though, it's okay, it's not a big deal, you can just put them back later. Alright, so generally there is a clip down here on the side that you're going to push down where it's seated, and that will unseat, and that's the clip right there. You're going to see this little clip, and you just push that down, and that allows you to get your card out. So we have our R9 390X by MSI. Very, very nice card. Absolutely love this card. So we'll take that and put that somewhere safe. Now what we're doing is we're really looking what's in the way, what's connected to this. So we have our hard drives here, our SATA connectors. We can go ahead and remove those, because those are connected to the motherboard. So now we have those off. We've got our jumpers here we can pull off. And now we have this radiator. You're probably not going to have a radiator in your way, but you may have a big fan or something that you need to move. So we're just looking what's in the way, what can we get out of the way of our computer here. And we don't want this to fall onto the motherboard and damage it, because I'm going to resell this on eBay and get most of the money that I spent on this upgrade back. That's how I like to keep my stuff up to date, is constantly replacing and selling these items. There we go. So I'm going to move this, because it's still connected to the block, out of the way. Connect any wiring here that supports it. And I'm going to leave the block connected because I'm going to sell this as a whole unit. So now the only other things here are my main power connections for the motherboard power, ATX, the RAM we're going to leave in because I'm going to sell that along with it as well. So now I just need to find the screws that hold this motherboard in place. So I have a screw here. The main thing with a PC is you don't force things. If you start pulling up and it's hung, don't yank. Start looking for where there could be a screw in the middle or hidden by some component, because sometimes the screws are hard to detect depending on where you're at. See, this one's kind of hidden here right next to these USB connections. And if you drop a screw onto the motherboard, do not sit there and keep dragging it across to pick it up. Worst case, pick up the motherboard, let it fall naturally off of the motherboard, because you don't want to scratch the circuitry. That's the most important part. The screw falling on it isn't going to do anything. The scraping the screw across the motherboard will destroy it. So I can tell I've got a clean lift right now, and we are ready to take the motherboard out. You want to hold the motherboard by the edges. In my case, it's going to be a little difficult just because, and there goes that screw. I've got this water cooler attached. I'm going to lift that here, and now we can get ready for the 6700K. One of the things you're going to need is the faceplate for the motherboard, which we have here. So I'm going to take the current faceplate out and just pop this one in. One thing I really like about the Gigabyte faceplate here is there's actually cushioning or padding here. You can see me pressing that in, and that's not the case with any of the other ones I've installed, so that's pretty nice. You should hear that click just like that, and then you can take your other faceplate if you're reselling and slide it right back in that bag. It'll look nice and new for its new home.
Don't get subscribed. Thumbs up like the video.